I'm a fool.
Hello, Vaughn people. We are here with the long-anticipated KH Daddies tier list. I just realized we'll probably want some music playing in the background. Any, like, dad-coded music that we can play that we wouldn't get snagged on copyright-wise? Because, you know, AC/DC, Guns N' Roses, that'd be great, but I don't think that will do. Home Depot, just the Home Depot theme over and over. Just general jazz. Smooth jazz, Hall & Oates. You know, one day, dad music is going to be Crush 40. Give it, like, another 10 years. I mean, some dads already grew up with the Sonic games, so... We channel 10 hours. Yeah, I guess it kind of already is, isn't it? Wow. Well, we'll get into that. First, we got to figure out our tunes, and then we'll you know, discuss our criteria. Well, if we want jazz... I feel like the Pajama Sam 3 soundtrack is kind of jazzy, so I played that game with my dad growing up. That only feels right. Well, let's get into like the actual. Yeah, here we go. Well, this is a bit more bluesy, but that's fitting the vibe, I think. Let me know if that's too loud or too quiet. Okay, so yes. This list is a list of all KH daddies. That is, the character appeared in KH, and whether in KH or not, they are a daddy. Now, notice there's some caveats there. And Fruitoon, shout out to Fruitoon, who compiled the majority of the list through the efforts of other chat members, probably months ago at this point. But we gave this list to the patrons recently, and we made some additional additions, and so we have some things that you might think are on the cusp of daddyhood, but we'll explain them as we get to each one. You're probably thinking like Shang, Mike Wazowski, Flounder. We have reasonings for all of these, okay? So don't you worry your precious little heads about it. So let's figure out what we're doing here, and this is not going to be my executive decision, okay? This is for all of us to collaborate on. What are we ranking here? I think we should take into account their ability as a dad, like their fatherhood, you know, potential / ability. I think their just general demeanor. I think you can be a great dad but a bad person, right? There's plenty of monsters in history who are good to their children but bad to the rest of the world. So I don't think just because someone's a good father doesn't automatically give them a free ride to the S tier. You know what I'm saying? And I also think... no, I think that's it. I think those are the main two things. So we have quite a range of daddies to take into account here. Of course, Tiermaker is not a good website. I mean, I guess I'm not a good content creator because if I really cared, I could have cropped the images properly so they would upload, you know, in the right way. Like here, it looks like these four are just like a fucking disgusting human daddy peed. But you know, we can identify the characters from there. Oh, I forgot Pongo. Fuck me. I had to upload the images like 3 times because I got a gateway timeout. And then one time I did it and I wasn't logged into Tiermaker. It lets you put in all the images and then you scroll to the bottom and it says, you can't make a template unless you're logged in. Why wouldn't you say that at the fucking top? Why would you even let me put the images in if I can't, like, I can't believe this is the website that we use. Every time we do a Tiermaker, I bitch about this, but, like, it's such a shitty fucking website. Everything about it is so bad, and it's just the one that we have to use because it's the most easily accessible, and it's the one everyone knows, and it's just like, can't we do something better than this? Can someone give me a better tier-making website than this piece of shit? Anyway, Ansem the Wise. Speaking of pieces of shit. I guess Pongo, I mean, he's obviously S tier. We didn't really need to, you know, belabor that point, so... Ansem the Wise. He is daddy to Ienzo. You know, he's the daddy of the entire Radiant Garden world, but chiefly Ienzo. That's what we were taking into account here. This is his waist. I tend to think of him as a flawed guy, but he's not a bad dad, right? I mean, he didn't really do anything bad to Ienzo. I mean, once Ienzo turned into Zexian, he probably would have been racist toward him had he been given the chance, and he kind of did, He was in Castle Oblivion at the same time as Zexion in Calm. People give him shit for accepting Ienzo's apology in KH3. Yeah, I kind of do too. I'm kind of people there. I think Ansem the Wise definitely did worse by Ienzo than Ienzo did by him. But even then, like, I don't think Ansem the Wise was particularly that bad towards Ienzo. So C feels good to me. He's deeply flawed. I feel like the community, and even I, am a bit too hard on Ansem the Wise. We're forgiving towards everybody else. And yeah, like, this guy's like 66 or whatever, so he should know better. But, like, shouldn't we give everyone a chance after they attempt to atone? So C feels good to me. I feel like that's the tenor of the chat. Allie, what's up? Music Elite Aloud, thank you for saying so. Appreciate that. And thank you for the 32 months, Allie. Appreciate that. Alright, so Bambi, this was on the list that Fruitoon gave me. And again, Fruitoon didn't put all of these down, so when I say Fruitoon's list, I don't mean that Fruitoon crafted it single-handedly. Is Bambi a dad in the end of Bambi? Is that what happens? I kind of check out after the mom dies, TBH, you know? I'm like, alright, we got the good part. He has twins? Okay. So, I mean, I can't really judge Bambi's fatherhood abilities. I mean, as he appears in KH, he is not a father. This is the baby Bambi render. And Bambi 2, which I did watch for the Cheapquel project, is a midquel, so it does not show Bambi's fatherhood there either. So, yeah, Bambi's dad is definitely a bad dad, so you would like to think that Bambi would break out of the cycle. I think B feels good for Bambi, just because we don't know that much, but from what we know of Bambi, I have no reason to believe he would be a bad dad. So right there. Another confusing case for me, because I'm not up to date on my Pirates lore, but we have Barbosa. Is Barbosa confirmed daddy in the first 4 movies, which are the ones that I saw, but I mostly remember the first 3, and even then, I'm not sure. So, 5th movie, okay, it's a plot twist, alright. Any Dead Men Tell No Tales heads out there that can speak to Barbosa's fatherhood capabilities? Because I would think he'd be a bad dad. And for the record, like, Jack Sparrow has certainly fathered countless children, but we don't have proof of it. So, until he goes on Maury, I think we have to leave Jack Sparrow off of this. I would imagine he sucks. I imagine he's been away at sea for probably literal decades, going to get cigarettes. So yeah, I don't think he was around for his daughter. Like, did he even try to be a good dad in the 5th movie? Neither he nor his daughter knew they were related until the very end. Okay. So yeah, I mean, if anything, that more so speaks to Barbosa's his reputation as a lover, frankly, because that means that he, you know, he did it and he dipped, which, not great. He gave his life for her? That's pretty huge. If he dies? I mean, I know he dies in the 1st movie, but does he die again in the 5th movie? Arr, hit it and quit it. Yeah, indeed. I believe that's what they said back in 1700s Caribbean. Barbosa fucks. He dies for real? Well, if he dies for his daughter, I think that probably puts him at B for Barbosa. Oh yeah, I guess we're going alphabetical here. I just realized. Okay, right? We put him in B? Didn't really know until, like, the 11th hour, but when he does, he goes all out. So, okay. Beast. Again, you're probably thinking neither in KH nor the Beauty and the Beast canon is Beast a father. Like, sure, he gets with Belle, but we don't know what happens in the parlor. But yes, in Descendants, which I mentioned in the booklet, is going to feature heavily, because our next 3 people here are only fathers in the Descendants chronology. Beast has a kid and is dating, like, the evil queen's daughter or something. And Beast is also Zaldan's daddy, so yeah. I don't know about Descendants Beast, but from what I know of Beauty and the Beast Beast, he's kind of a dickhead. You think he's a good dad? I don't know. I watched the Belle's Enchanted World, and Beast owned a bird in that movie, and he was not a good bird owner, I think. Maybe he was actually a great bird owner and something happened to the bird. I remember him being really into the bird and then upset about the bird. So, Ben is dating and later married to Maleficent's daughter. Dopey's son dates the Evil Queen's daughter. I apologize. So, yeah, I think Beast is definitely, like, the dad that you can't really have a conversation with. Like, he's gonna get mad at just the slightest inconvenience. Yeah, Dopey does fuck in Descendants, so... we're not there yet, we're not there. We're figuring out Beast. I don't know, I'm not feeling great about Beast as a dad. I'm not even really that sold on him as a husband. I feel like the way it started was pretty messy, and he's still kind of an aggressive dickhead. I mean, then again, this is all midquel stuff, and the Enchanted Christmas and the Magical Dimension movies, those are midquels. So it's like, I don't know, maybe once he's ugly Prince Adam, he's a better, you know, boyfriend slash husband. But what's up, Opal? I would just think he yells at his kids. I have no doubt that he has good intentions for everybody, but he's just a dickhead about it. So I'm feeling C tier for Beast. I'm just not really sold on his dad abilities. Okay. Captain Hook. Again, Descendants. Father to child. I assume adopted with Mr. Smee. I have to imagine that Hook is... Well, what do we know of Hook? He's greedy. He's kind of comic relief. He's deathly afraid of crocodiles. He would be a good dad. Yeah, honestly, like, my gut instinct is to put him above Beast at least. He does try to kill kids. That's a good point. Okay, we probably have more against Hook than any of the other fathers so far. Ask me anything. If there was one character in fiction you could throw deep into the realm of darkness, Daniel from Life is... Oh, other than Daniel. I really didn't notice the Daniel at the end until I read it. Gurgi. He did it to himself, actually. Gurgi also already did that, so why not a second time? I swear to God, I read the first half of the question, I was like, Daniel, and then I get to the end, and it's like, besides Daniel. Okay, anyway, anyone familiar with Hook in Descendants? Yeah, he does try to kill kids. But, like, when it's your own kid, I don't think you would. I mean, he has a good reason to kill those other kids. They fucked up his hands, you know? C tier? Yeah. I think, like, he passes the vibe check outside of the attempted child murder all of the time in every appearance he makes, so... Based off vibes, yeah. Okay, Dopey. Yes, apparently, this was also a shock to me. Dopey fucks. I guess none of the other dwarves do, because no one corrected or, like, interjected before I submitted the final thing that, hey, also all the other dwarves, just Dopey. And he's a good dad? Okay. I mean, I have no reason to believe he wouldn't be. He's a sweetheart. In Descendants, Carly, you know, when I said the other day, like, Kingdom Hearts is Charmander, Descendants is Charmeleon, Twisted Wonderland is Charizard. That's the lineage of, like, fucked up Disney edgy spin-off things. So, I mean, I think I can't put him in S because I've not seen footage or proof of Dopey in action as a dad. But, like, yeah, he doesn't speak, so he obviously respects women. I think A tier for Dopey. I have no reason to believe whatsoever. I mean, they basically are Snow White's dad, kind of, in the movie, right? Like, they take care of her. They're really upset when she dies, as dads are. Why not? That's because I don't know. I don't know enough. I don't know about him in the dad context. And I don't think anybody here really does besides, like, the 3 Descendants fans in here, so... Snow White's more so their mother. It's a complicated Freudian thing going on in the cottage in the Dwarf Woodlands. I don't really know what to make of it. I don't like it. I'm just trying to piece together any semblance of fatherhood that I can. Okay? Finkelstein, yeah, obviously bad. If I could add an F tier, which can I? Can I do that? Well, we don't really need to, but D for Doctor. Very bad dad to Sally. Created her, calls her a good-for-nothing girl. Just generally a creep, especially in the movie. Way more so in the movie. I'll make click the gear. Oh, okay. Yeah, let's make an F tier. It'll be this. Okay. Oh, I fucked it all up. Now, what have I done? What have I done here? Okay, year D, and I gotta change the color of it to green. Okay, there we go. So yeah, we're gonna add the F tier. I think it only makes sense. Also, F for Fink. Don't have to spend too much time on that one, I don't think. Okay, Jumba is down to Stitch. You know, I'm tempted to put him near Fink, but I do think he's a better dad than Fink. From what I recall, in the first movie, it is more so like a, you know, Frankenstein's experiment type thing. Like, it's just his, you know, research come to life. But I feel like in the other Stitch media, like I remember watching Stitch 2 or whatever, for the Cheekle project, Jumba was like genuinely concerned and upset when it looked like Stitch was gonna fucking die. So I think minimum D tier. Can anyone make a case for higher than that for Dr. Jumba? He's kinder than a lot of other people here. Yeah, again, like, I only really remember that. I mean, I guess in the Stitch, Lilo and Stitch TV show, he's probably a cool guy, right? He's acknowledged his mistakes and grown. Great father in the TV series. Okay, you guys are selling me on it. Alright. Will do then. We'll move him up to C. Right there. Alright, the Emperor. Also not confirmed a father in KH, but, like, I assume his daughters exist in that universe and are just off-screen. We have explicit confirmation that he has daughters in Mulan 2, that wretched little film. But he does marry them off as a political play. Yeah, 3 daughters who kind of shack up with the soldiers, Yao and Qianpo and Ling. So I do think the Emperor is not great. I do get the impression that he's probably a decent leader. I feel like China, I don't know, when I was walking around, it seemed like it was doing well. I mean, a village got burned down, and they do just have fireworks laying around, doesn't seem that safe. Okay, maybe not. Maybe China's kind of going through it when we visit it in KH2. What if marrying them off was necessary to secure China's security by means of a military alliance against the Mongols? Surely we could just sit down and chat. Do we really have to marry them off? I mean, I don't really remember. Are the daughters cool with that? I feel like they're not, because they end up with the, yeah, they don't marry the enemy combatant people. They marry the soldiers. They're not. So it seemed like he either married them off or go to war. I mean, I guess we're opening up like a philosophical, moral can of worms here, but it's like, okay, you're in charge of a nation of like millions of people, 1 billion if you're modern China, and it's like, hey, this other nation's gonna crush us. We're all gonna die unless we marry off the 3 daughters. Yeah, was it to forge an alliance? If it's just for an alliance, then I feel like that's even weaker. If it's to avoid a war, I can more so, I see it, but like, he's a product of the culture he lives in. Yeah, I mean, I think the Emperor is the type to be like, I'm growing and learning. Like, he would actually genuinely tweet and mean that. If the daughters consented, then fine, I guess, but I don't think they did in the movie. I think B tier feels high. I mean, he does seem like a cool guy. Like, he treats Mulan with a lot of respect in Mulan 1. Maybe this might have to be our first poll. I think he belongs anywhere from B to D, okay? So we could just, you know, split the middle there and do C, but I'm gonna let you guys decide. Oh, fuck it, I'll give you got 5 options. He's definitely not S tier, but I'll give you A, B, C, D. Why can't I fucking type? And F. Some of them are capitalized, some of them aren't. Don't think too hard about it. Vote now. My gut says C tier, just because, like, again, he lives in ancient China. By those standards, he's probably a pretty good dad, but by modern standards, he's F tier. So, right. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. We're grading him on his fatherhood. If we're grading him on his leadership, he probably goes way higher up. But the masses have spoken. It's an overwhelming C. So, I'll put him right in the middle there. Alright, Ephemer, Union Cross, you know, we know that Things End and Scala, or... Yeah, no. Well, no, it's... Yeah, Old Scala gets formed on the ruins of Daybreak Town. There's a big statue of Ephemer, and we know that Ephemer has descendants, so we know that he was a dad at some point. Who was his kid? We don't know for certain, but we just know that he is / was a dad. We know nothing of his children or child. We don't know how many even, but we know that he is Eraqus's, right? Eraqus's great whatever. Or was it Xehanort? I always forget. He's Eraqus's great whatever. He's Xehanort's? Oh, fuck me. Okay. Who's Eraqus's then? Somebody that we know, right? Or no? Ephemer, at least he gets to appear in 3D in back cover. He has, and 3, he has lines that are voiced. I mean... He was a good friend and a good leader, so probably speaks well to his fatherhood capabilities. Although, again, the Emperor, you know, seemingly chill guy, good leader, but also not the greatest dad. So I don't know if we can just take that and run. Oppie, thank you for the year. Appreciate that. Oh, Brain, of course. Brain. Okay. So Brain should also be on here, but he's not. He probably died young, so I think he orphaned his children. Doesn't make him a bad dad, right? Just because he died young. If he went out to get cigarettes and never came back, then that's a different story, but everyone knows that you can't smoke in Daybreak Town. It's illegal. He is at least an A in my heart, but he did break his promise to meet me at the fountain. That's true. He is a liar. A promise breaker. Died saving the world is different than what Barbosa had going on. Right, Barbosa just saved the one... Well, actually, I don't really know the conditions of Barbosa's sacrifice. Did Barbosa just save his daughter, or did he save multiple people? He was whisked away with Ava. Brain isn't confirmed as a father? Okay. But Ephemer basically is. I don't know. What do you make of this guy? We again, like Dopey, we haven't seen any fatherhood in action. What's up, KSM? Thank you for the 28. A? B? I feel like Dopey tier makes sense. He seems like a good guy. I have no reason to believe he'd be a bad dad, so... Alright, Eraqus, one of the worst, right? As an adoptive father to Terra, Aqua, and Ven, really bad. I mean, we could put him in F, but, like, we also have to contend with Xehanort later on. Did I forget Xehanort? No, he's right here. He tried. Wow, you guys are giving him D tier? Should he not be F? I mean, say what you will about Fink, but he never tried to kill Sally. You know, he berates her, and that's not good. But I'd rather be berated than killed. So, what do we do with that? How do we reconcile those two things? Yeah, he apologized as a ghost. I mean, I would apologize for a ton of shit after I died and there were no consequences or shame to be had, right? You know? If I'm a dead ghost, I'd go around and apologize for every single misdeed I did. Because it doesn't matter. How about take accountability while you're fucking alive? Why are you guys being, like... I think we should forgive. But, like, even Ansem the Wise... Okay, he did try to, like, genocide the nobodies. But he wasn't, like, all of their actual adoptive dads. You know? Everyone makes mistakes, but, like, I feel like if we put Eraqus in D, then we have to put Fink in either C or D. This is about his father behavior, not whether or not it's forgivable. I mean, here's the thing. He was probably a good dad for the first... I mean, I don't know. Were Terra and Aqua born of the mist in Land of Departure? We still don't know. Because Land of Departure is stupid. But, like, did they just show up one day? Did the fucking Dumbo stork drop them off? Like, how long did they live with them? Regardless, whether it was 10 years, 5 years, whatever, he was probably a good dad. But then he tried to kill 2 of them. Aqua had to shoulder a ton of responsibility on his behalf. All 3 of his kids turned out good. Ooh, that is a good point. In spite of all of his misdeeds, he did raise 3 good kids. Except for Ven. Because I think Ven sucks. You know, I think part of being a good person is not being boring, and Ven unfortunately does not pass that test. But, right, that's the thing. I think Sally is a good kid, or however, I guess she's probably a grown woman, but I feel like she was born a grown woman. It's complicated. It's not down to Eraqus' parenting. That's a good counterpoint. I feel like Terra, Aqua, and Ven probably would have grown up good anyway. Nature versus nurture, you know? I mean, Ven is literally a pure light. Okay. I think Eraqus should be F tier if Fink is also F tier. I can see the argument for Eraqus in D tier, but if he is, that means we have to move Fink up, because this is serious. This is going in the Library of Congress one day. F, F, F. Okay, F it is. And he's lower than Fink, I'm sorry. Alright, Fix-It Felix fucks, apparently. Is that in 2? Or does he... Oh, no, he adopts, doesn't he? Doesn't he adopt? Because I don't think they animated parts for either of them. So, that's not in the game's code. He adopted, like, 20 kids. Okay. Well, I mean, he's... If we're just going by, like, basic dad stereotypes, he's very handy. Like, he can fix things. He's good with tools. He's probably great. Anytime something... One of the cribs breaks... You know, any toys malfunctioning, he's probably there to fix them. Classic Home Depot dad. I refuse to be silenced. Seriously, constant abuse of Sally is far worse than making a wrong decision in a difficult situation. I think it's not. I think verbally abusing your daughter, while bad, is not as bad as almost killing her in a lapse of judgment. I think if you have that lapse of judgment, you weren't that great of a dad to begin with. Soundtrack's getting louder. Sorry. I'll duck that a bit more. Thankfully, I was passionately yelling over that. Again, also bad. But he never tried to kill her. And Eraqus did. He was fully putting his Eraqus-sussy into the attempted murder of 2 of his sons. Sure, he thinks it's the fate of all worlds, but could we maybe talk about it? Could we maybe, I don't know, put Ven to sleep and put him in a box like we ended up doing anyway? Like, let's really think about this for more than 5 seconds before we raise our Keyblade on our own son. Okay? Anyway, Felix, I think he's probably pretty high up there. He seems like he'd have a lot of good dad jokes. He doesn't curse around his kids. Like, the worst thing he'll say is, like, gosh darn, you know? S tier? Okay. Felix is S tier. Alright, Flounder. Again, Flounder, not a dad in KH or Little Mermaid 1, but he is a dad in Little Mermaid 2. He's, as I said in the Cheap Cool video, when I was profoundly intoxicated, a chunky fish with a full mortgage. From what I recall, he is a good dad. I don't remember seeing his fish children, but I get the impression that he's kind of like the Felix of the sea. Probably not as good with underwater hardware, but I think he's probably at least A tier. He didn't even tell Ariel he was a dad. Well, that's because they grew out of touch. Ariel had to go be the queen of fucking Dutchland or whatever. Ventus also agreed with Eraqus' decision. Yeah, okay, so if your child is how old is Ven? 16? And Ven is having this moment of severe emotional distress, and the parent just agrees with it, and that makes it okay? Like, I don't think that really excuses any of it. And he's really like 5, yeah. Well, he's actually like 5,000, but you know what I mean? Like, just because Ven thinks, oh, it's fine, actually, you know what? It's good. Kill me. And Eraqus is going to go along with that? Like, I don't think just because Ven consents to being murdered, that makes it a good idea or decision to try and murder him. I'm not even a Ven guy. I think I'm the only person speaking sense about the Eraqus-Ven relationship here. Okay, Felix deserves S tier because him and his wife managed to turn 20 bratty racers into caring and nice/good. Oh yeah, that's true. That's actually huge because we have proof of his success as a father. So, okay. Flounder, A tier, we good? Okay. Frollo, awful dad. Frollo, dad to Quasimodo, literally locks him up in a tower, is racist, tries to kill his son, F tier. And even lower, because at least Eraqus wasn't a racist. So, Bad guy, bad dad, overall, bad stuff. Gaston, check out those tits. Look at that. That's Gaston's titties right there. Apparently in Descendants, he's a dad. I can't imagine he is that present in his child's life. I'd be shocked if he knew that he had the children. I swear this fucking I agree. I agree, Barnabas, but we have a lot of time to fill. He has to be awful, right? If anybody has any opinions on the Descendants stuff, listen, Eraqus is above Frollo in the tier. This tier is for attempted murderers and physical and verbal abusers, okay? So yeah, I guess Gaston and LeFou adopted. He's got to be D tier, right? Right? He's so into himself. How could he possibly care about taking care of his children? Well, Mike Wazowski and Sulley are gay dads with each other for Boo. I mean, technically, they're just, like, babysitting, but I feel like if Boo is in the monster world, they are her fathers. So, I feel like you're allowed to have separate sets of parents for different dimensions. Yeah, Happy Pride, Gaston D tier. Okay, Geppetto. Interesting case here. Geppetto, I think, honestly committed a crime of nature. Not for what you or the Spaghettis might think. I think Geppetto objectively downgraded some being from a puppet to a real boy. That's a downgrade. A puppet doesn't have to suffer, contend with illness, heartbreak. A puppet is a puppet. Geppetto makes a selfish wish to grant autonomy and life to something that was doing fine. Alright? He was sitting on the shelf, dancing around with strings if need be. Otherwise, I feel like anything more than that, assigning personhood to something in such a manner, based on your, I mean, you could say the same thing about just having a child, I suppose. Bit of an anti-natalist sort of approach. Other than that, he's a good dad. He's a very good dad. But you're right, he did give anxiety to a tree. And that's fucked up. What do we do with this? I mean, he would do anything for his little wooden boy. A tier? Why not S tier? Why are we not doing S? Is it because of the granting personhood to a tree? He did go into a whale for his son. Yeah. Yeah, the sort of existential debate about the condition of human suffering aside, probably put Geppetto in S tier. What the fuck am I talking about? Alright, Goofy. Again, not a dad in KH, but father to Max Goof. No reason for me to think that Goofy belongs anywhere outside of the very top position. That's Fix-It Felix Jr. from Wreck-It Ralph and Geppetto. Goofy, he's S tier, right? We have proof from the Goofy movies and Goof Troop. He's a dad to Sora, basically a surrogate father. I can't imagine anyone topping Goofy on this list. So, alright, easy peasy. Hades, once again, in Descendants, a father. I think in traditional Greek mythology, also a father. All we can see here is his robe and his arms. But this is Hades. I know nothing of Hades in Descendants. I would have to think, okay, I knew as soon as I said topping Goofy on the list that somebody would attempt to top Goofy. That aside, based on mythology, he's bad. Wasn't he not that bad in mythology, though? And yeah, in myth, he's a good husband, but a bad dad. He left both of them. Happy Pride. Apparently Hades is the father of the main character of Descendants. Is the main character of Descendants a good person? In mythology, he's pretty much the most chill of the gods. Okay, but this is the Hercules version, so let's take out the real myth. I shouldn't have brought it up. He's actually absent in Descendants. He canonically abandons his kid. Okay. He does treat Pain and Panic poorly. They're not his children, but they are his employees. You know? Feels like a D tier then, right? Absent, but not murderous. Alright. Again, Jafar, dad in the Descendants chronology. I think if you, like, take Jafar out of, like, government, he's probably not the worst dad. Twisted Jafar is a good dad, but that's not this version of Jafar, obviously. Although, is it not, if we're factoring in Descendants, should we not also factor in Twisted? I guess Twisted isn't licensed by Disney. So this is the Disney Jafar, even though this is the KH canon appearance of him. In Descendants, he fucks, and he has a kid, and I don't know anything about his abilities. Feels like another D tier. If he was Genie mode, I put him in F just for the principle of it all. But you're so old. I'm going to put him in D tier. I don't feel like anybody really has any thoughts. But I do think that he would make a better dad than these other two. So we're going to go with that. Alright, Kerchak is a gorilla father to Tarzan in both KH1 and Tarzan. And in the movie, he is, you know, not that nice to Tarzan growing up. Wicked Jafar impression, please. How does he go? I have no idea. I can't even think of a single line. When I think of Twisted, I think of Aladdin. I do like when Aladdin's giving his big speech at the end, and Jafar's like, "Okay, I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about," or something. But that's like my favorite Jafar bit in the play. Anyway, Kerchak gets shot, and he does accept Tarzan on his deathbed, on his death vines rather. Hates his son, then dies. What a loser! But he does like say like, "Yo, I was wrong about you. You're the shit. You're in charge of the pride now," or the pack, I guess, for if you're gorillas. Okay, Jesus Christ, I have no idea what the fuck is going on here. Yeah, that's my favorite part. Oh, I forgot to switch out for Presto. I think this is the etiquette song playing when you're dancing with the celeries. Anyway, Kerchak. I think he's at least D tier. So did Eraqus. Well, Eraqus already died. He already reached the pinnacle of consequence. Okay? He didn't say with his final breath, "Hey, I was a dumb dick." I guess actually he did, didn't he? He did say that to Terra. But not to Ven, because Terra yeeted him into the portal. And again, yes, we can do the whataboutism with Eraqus and Kerchak here, but Kerchak never tried to kill Tarzan, okay? Are we fucking forgetting about that? Like, yeah, Kerchak was a dick to Tarzan when he was growing up, but he still, like, had a respect for him when he was an adult and never tried to murder him. So, and, yeah, that's true. In KH, he never dies, and thus, potentially, is never given the chance to acknowledge Tarzan as a good man and a good son. But I feel like by the end of Sora's visit there, we've kind of reached the same conclusion. Like, Tarzan helped Sora, you know, kill Clayton and drive the Heartless out, even though they spawn again when you return, which is always a weird KH1 thing. He's at least D tier, but I feel like there's a case for lower C. Here's the thing. We're talking about... this might go against him. He's also a father to the gorilla baby in the beginning of the movie, but, you know, they let him out of his sight, and Sabor eats it. And Tarzan's parents. Huge day for Sabor, I gotta say. I'm gonna put him at the top of D tier. I feel good about that. Alright, Kevin Flynn, on the list noted as the dad of all time. I watched Tron Legacy for the first time in the past month and a half. Don't really have any strong opinions on Kevin. D. Easy D. A lot of shit dads so far. Yeah. Yeah, I think the trend here is that we had a lot of moms higher up and a lot of dads lower down. D for Devin. B. Kevin's A or B? Alright, I need you guys to sell me on this, because right now we just have letters. But I know I just saw the movie, but I got the impression that, like, for most of the movie, he wasn't that good of a dad, but maybe at the end he was a good dad. From what I remember of Dream Drop, he kind of sacrifices himself and stays in the grid so Sam can escape. But he does, like, leave Sam for a long time, right? So, kind of breaks even, maybe, for a C or B? Maybe low B? He didn't mean to leave? See, I forget. I thought it was on purpose. He didn't leave Sam on purpose. He was trapped in the grid. Okay. Okay, so we're working up to an A, maybe? He's one of those redeeming fathers, but I think he was shitty at first. I feel like none of us, besides maybe Pumpkin and Barnabas, are really sure of how Kevin Flynn was as a dad, so... Just because he's so fucking boring, I think I'm gonna put him at the top of B. Sorry, any Kevin heads. Alright, fuck this guy. I hate King Triton. I know what you're all gonna say. Oh, but he sacrifices himself in Little Mermaid and he becomes a little gross polyp. Yeah, sure, fine. But he, like, never fucking learns his lesson. He has to learn the fucking lesson 3 times. In, well, if you count the Little Mermaid prequel, the 3rd Little Mermaid movie, he's a dumb dick in that. And it's like, yeah, his wife died, so he bans music, but he's just a dumb idiot. And then in KH1/Little Mermaid 1, he has to learn to not be a dick again. And then in 2, he has to learn not to be a dick again as well. Would I send my daughter to a fish prince? No. I would never have a daughter or a son. So, no. Bottom of the sea, that would be fitting, a fitting spot. But you're gonna have to talk me out of putting him in the D tier. I say put him in D for drown this fool. I don't care if he can breathe in water, find a way to drown him. Put him in the air. I guess he can probably breathe air, right? He goes to Melody's fish christening, and he's like hanging out. Maybe he just has to dip underwater to get water in his lungs or gills. I feel good about the D tier for King Triton. Not even that good of a leader, I don't think. Yeah, D for Daddy. I'll put him... Because he sacrificed himself that one time, I'll put him right there. But he has to... He just, like, is so fucking dumb and stubborn. I hate him. If he tried to kill Ariel, I'd put him in F tier. Unfortunately, he didn't, so I have to put him in the D tier. Alright, Xehanort, very bad father to both Ven and Vanitas. I don't really think we have to spend too much time on this. Is he a better dad than Frollo? Ariel? Boo! Might as well. The only question here is, like, where on the F tier? Is he worse than Frollo? Probably, right? I mean, he's not racist. But he, like, Frollo was just trying to, like, rule over France or whatever. Was he even really trying to do that? Like, Xehanort was going to use both of his quote-unquote sons to, like, recreate the universe. Which, like, is worse. Sorry, it is. I mean, at least Xehanort had a good reason for it besides... Or at least an explainable reason besides, like, I'm so horny, so I'm gonna kill about it. Like, what do we do with that? Yes, like, Frollo is a very bad man. But he didn't try to, like, destroy the universe. But he probably would if he could. Xehanort just had the means. So, top of F? I don't think he's a better dad than Fink. Like, at least Fink lets Sally live in the lab. Where did Ven and Vanitas live when they were with Xehanort? In the fucking graveyard? They sleep outside? I think he's either dead last or second to last, so... Xehanort's a dad to Ven and Vanitas, of course. Adoptive dad, right? Alright, Maurice. Crazy old Maurice. He's kind of out there, but he's a good dad, right? He might be kind of dumb, but I think he loves his daughter. I don't really remember that much about Beauty and the Beast. Goes in F tier for only showing up in cucks. He was in here raving. He loves a good rave. Wholesome dad. I'm feeling an A tier if anyone can convince me higher or lower. I can't think of anything bad that he did. I think he's just kind of like a doof. At least A. Okay. Well, I'm sold. Fuck it. Okay. Here we have Hector, or Hector. Not putting the accent on the right spot there. He appears in a Union Cross medal. He is a dad. He's a great dad. Right? S tier. We were just talking about the song he sings in Coco. Is there any bad shit that he does that he has to reconcile with? I think he's overall has a good track record. Well, he died at an age where his daughter could remember the song, right? So he abandoned his family. Oh, right. Wasn't he like trying to like go and make it big in the world of music, and he left his family? But he was doing that for his family, right? Yeah, and he was murdered. He technically abandoned his wife and kid for music. Okay. So A? I feel like the standards are much lower for the fathers. Walter White did use that excuse. Yeah, do you think you can make meth in the Cocoa Afterworld, or is that, like, not allowed? I feel like anything sort of goes. B tier. He kind of had to reconcile leaving to spread music, but he was going to return because he missed his family, which is why Ernesto killed him. Okay. Seems like we're angling for an S to B here. S tier below Goof? I don't know, man. Like, Felix never left his wife and kids. Geppetto went into a whale. It's still bad to leave. I mean, were they okay with it? Below Maurice? There's only so much you can do when you're dead. I'm talking about what he did when he was alive. You know? Below Geppetto. How about top of A? Top of A feels good to me. Again, we got low standards. But then again, like, Flounder never abandoned his kids. You know? Sure, he has to pay off the mortgage still, but so do many fathers. And that doesn't make you a bad dad. It just means you have a mortgage. Sure, you're behind on some payments. That's fine. When you pay in fucking kelp, what does it matter? It's a fantasy underwater world. Who gives a shit? I say... I think maybe he goes here. As a business trip? Alright. I'm not gonna budge any further on this, though. Mike Wazowski. Okay, here's the thing. Mike and Sulley, Boo's dads in the monster world. I think, at the end of the day, they both love Boo, but Sulley clearly loves her more. And Boo clearly loves Sulley more than she loves Mike. Now, just because your child loves one parent more than another doesn't make you a bad dad. But, like, Mike was definitely slower to warm up on Boo. Tries to make Boo laugh constantly. The jokey dad. S tiers for both. They both love Boo. But Sulley obviously loves him, or loves Boo more, right? So Sulley will be above Mike. Mike is B? I think Mike should at least be A. He never abandoned his child. Is overall a good guy. Like, unlike Barbosa, is gainfully and legally employed. Sulley over Mike, but both S tier. Didn't Mike recover the shards of a shredded door? That's true. He had his fucking hands were all shredded up, all splintered. That's true. That's a great point. He's the meme of like, my hands look like this, so Boo and Sulley can, it's, you know, something like that. They could be happy together. Mixed meme metaphors, but it's literally like, with his bare fucking hands. So, he's at least A tier. Yeah, he's going there. Because he fucking bled for the cause. And we'll just talk about Sulley since we're here. Unconditional love for Boo. A little afraid of her at first, but aren't we all afraid once we enter fatherhood? Speaking from not experience. Is he better than Geppetto? Geppetto goes into a whale. Sulley fights his way through the Himalayas. So... don't talk about my secret child. That's a secret for a reason. Below Goofy? The thing about Felix, though, is that we can see the results. Actually, do we not dock Goofy a little bit because Max is kind of a shithead? I mean, he's a teenager, right? So it's like, even the best parents are gonna have shitty teenagers. But, like, I'm not that impressed by Max. Sulley killed his own boss? That's really cool. So maybe extra points is what you're saying? We're not docking Goofy points? I just feel like... I mean, again, we can't give Sulley points because we don't know what Boo turns out to be. She's like, what, 2? 3? Probably 2. Yeah, I guess he does get a job as the valet parking guy in House of Mouse. He went through college for Max, but like Max, he's a dick, and he's like Tritonitis has to learn the lesson twice to not be such an asshole to your dad who's trying his best to give you a good life. Can Sulley get above Felix because Yeetus Vanitas? Well, he is right now. It's not Goofy's fault his kid has no mom. Do we know what happened to Mrs. Goof? Did she leave? Or did she die? Did he leave Max? I don't think he exists, frankly, in the KH canon. She died? Is that legit? Like, Chucky's mom sort of energy? Think she left? It's like, okay, if she left, I want to know why. You know, I want to know why she left. Because maybe that teaches us something about Goof. They got divorced? Listen, good people get divorced. It's fine, but for different reasons. I want to know the reasons for the divorce. In the old cartoon, she's actively cheating on him? Are we sure she divorced and she didn't disappear? Leon broke their marriage. The classic Leon. Alright. I'm gonna leave Sulley there. We're not gonna move Goof. I think keep Felix above, just because we have the results with all the racers being kind of reformed. Okay, Mr. Incredible. Yeah, appears in a Cuck's medal. I don't know how I feel about his fatherhood. I feel like in the second movie, he really takes on a lot more responsibilities when Elastigirl is out doing her own shit. I don't really remember. Can't do math. Yeah, but neither can I. It doesn't make me a bad potential dad. That is something that keeps me from wanting to have kids, is that I'll have to help them with their fucking homework, and I won't know how to do the basic math shit. Jealous, leaves his wife for work. That speaks on his ability as a husband. I mean, I guess he leaves the kids, too. But he really cares about his kids. I think B tier is probably where he peaks. He never yells at his kids or takes low blow jabs. I really had to read that carefully. Doesn't he yell at his kids, though, in the first movie? I feel like there's a scene where he's yelling at them in the living room. B tier? Yeah. I think he'll be at the top of B tier. I think, like, he's not a perfect dad, but he's trying. He cares. He makes some bad decisions, but he's not, like, you know, egregiously an absentee dad or murdering or attempting to murder his kids. So, all right, Mufasa. Great dad, right? Like, easy S tier. I think we're kind of just talking about where he goes. A tier? How is he not S? Why is Barbosa in B tier with Mr. Incredible? Because apparently he sacrificed himself to save his daughter after just learning that she was his daughter. I only am taking this on, like, anecdotal stuff from the chat, so I don't know for sure, but he not only saved Simba from the wildebeest stampede, but also from the elephant graveyard. Like, he bails his kid out, and, like, yeah, he gives him a stern talking to, but Simba needs a fucking kick in the ass there, you know? And he instills some values in Simba. I feel like if Mufasa didn't have those chats with Simba in the fucking fields at night, Simba would still be Hakuna Matating, which, by the way, those two are also on the list. I feel like Mufasa instilled some good values in his son, kept him safe, you know, disciplined, firmly but fairly. He's definitely an S tier. Helped his kid after death. And it wasn't even like, hey, I'm sorry I was a dick. He was like, I was always pretty chill, and I'm going to continue to be chill and impart good life lessons. So, I think there's a case that Mufasa is a better dad than Goofy. Simba was depressed for years because his dad was so cool. Number 1 on the list? I think he kind of has to be. Like, I have no doubt that Goofy is the more fun dad, and, like, I'd rather hang out with Goofy, but Mufasa saved his son from a deathly experience twice, one time at the cost of his own life, and just instilled a lot of good shit. So, Goofy hasn't had the chance, but, like, I just feel like we have a larger and more impressive body of work. Like, I think Goofy would save his son, but if I'm comparing someone who I think would save their son and someone who I think would and has done it, I'm going to put that one in the top position. I'm sorry. Goofy hasn't had the chance because he never endangered him, but Mufasa never endangered his son. Like, he wasn't being a helicopter parent, and thus Simba, you know, ran off to the elephant graveyard. First of all, like, you gotta let your kids make mistakes. You gotta not be watching them 24/7. You gotta have some trust in your kid. And he was ruling a fucking lion nation. So, maybe he does. I don't know. But I know we love Goofy. I know we're big Goofy stans. We have much more Goofy content to look at than Mufasa stuff. But I think we're letting our Goofy love kind of blind us to the facts here, which is that Mufasa is probably the more impressive father. I'm sorry. Okay, Odin. Odin from Dark Road, which Fruitune in the list had with a question mark next to him. I don't know that much about Odin. I don't think he's like a legit dad. F tier, right? Wanted to kill Balder. Wasn't that like a good idea though? I don't really remember Dark Road that well. Odin gets a whole class killed. Yeah, that's true. He does. Kick his ass. I don't think he's a dad. He's not a confirmed father. Yeah, I mean, he's a father in the same way that, like, my 6th grade history teacher, Mr. Swanson, is my dad, which is he's not. You know? Great teacher. Mr. Swanson I'd put above Odin. Maybe just leave him off. Leave him off the list. Seems like people either don't have an opinion on Odin, don't think he should be a dad, or think he's a bad dad if he is. He locked Balder in a room instead of giving him therapy. Do they have therapy in Scala? Are we even at that point in history? Like, when was therapy invented? I feel like 10 years ago, right? I feel like that's the first time we ever really heard about it. I think Tony Soprano was the first guy to go to therapy. He sucks hardcore. Okay, but this has nothing to do with his ability as a lover. We're talking about his ability as a father. Nothing about cucks. There's no therapy in Kingdom Hearts. Sora's clearly on a therapy couch in Cage 4 trailer. Alright, we're going to put Odin in the down here tier. He's not really a dad. I feel like that's what people are leading towards. Alright, Pete. Pete is father to PJ in the Goofy spin-off materials. Pete is the father to PJ. Not that PJ, but I like that PJ. Pete's D tier. C tier. PJ has anxiety. Yeah, but so do I. My dad's not a bad dad for that. Pete is easy D tier. I didn't really know enough about the Goof Troop, Goofy movie lore, but like, he is pretty stereotypically daddish, right? He grills. He loves to grill. He's a centrist. Pete constantly belittles PJ. Okay. So then why are you all giving him such a pass to the C and D tier? Because we put belittlers like Fink in the F tier. He clearly loves his daughter more than his son. Okay, so on one hand, favoritism, but on the other, he has love for at least a child in his life. Pete has 2 kids, his daughter, Pistol in the show. Right. Should we reassess Fink? Should F tier be only for attempted murderers? Throw Pete off a cliff. I want to see this man flip in the air at a comically fast speed as he gets mauled by demon towers. Grexon's got a lot of hate in their heart for Pete. Fink is worse because he hates his kid based on their sex. Is that why he hates Sally? Pete, Cat, S tier, dad. He's definitely not S tier. Yeah, I mean, Pete is definitely rancid vibes in Kingdom Hearts. Separate tier for murderers. That kind of already is the F tier. I mean, it's just besides Fink. Oh, D tier. Alright. Sounds like Pete's gonna be D tier. We'll put him here. Pete should be below Kerchak but above Triton. Okay. I'm fine with that. Phoebus is a cop, F tier. Again, we're not rating people based on their professions, just their capability as a father. And Phoebus is a dad to HJO, actually. Zephyr, I believe, is his name, in Hunchback 2. Dreadful little piss stain of a movie, but he is a dad in it. And if I recall, his son gets kidnapped, but Phoebus does fight valiantly to save him, although I believe it is Quasimodo's GF the trapeze artist who really saves his son. Release the boy, yeah. So, what do we do with Phoebus? C tier? I feel like I don't know that much about him, but he does try to save his son when he gets kidnapped. High C, alright. Above Ansem the Wise, I feel like top of C tier makes sense. Prince Charming, in Descendants, is a dad. What a bland man. Ruthie, any takes on Prince Charming? If Ruthie's still here. If not, no worries, because I think I can discern that Prince Charming is probably fine. His son is the worst character. Okay. I'll take that into consideration. Disqualify him just for being bland. Well, just because you're bland doesn't mean you're not a dad. If there ever was a C, yeah, you can't charm his way out of the C tier. Probably made a servant raise his kids. I mean, that's conjecture. You know, we don't know. Is his son's name Chad? Maybe dock him a few points. C is literally average. I have no reason to believe that he's a good or bad dad, so I'll put him right here below Phoebus. I think that's fair. I don't think anyone's really out here stumping hardcore for Prince Charming. Alright, Prince Eric, father to Melody, god damn it, in Little Mermaid 2. Bad dad. I mean, he's not going to be F tier, but, like, he does show up with the ship to try and, stab... No, he stabs Ursula in the boobie in the first movie. I think he thinks that he can do that in the second movie, but he gets crushed by rocks, I believe, or ice. He doesn't die, but his ship gets ruined, I think. So, Daddy Eric and his big boat, yeah. He's hardly involved with Melody. Lets Ariel just kind of deal with all of it. I mean, shows up at the end, so I guess there's that, but, like, I'm just not impressed at all by his dad ship, so maybe top of D tier. Like, does more for Melody than Kerchak does for Tarzan. So, I could be sold on bottom of C tier, maybe. Is Hook too high? Hook should probably be, like, there. We're gonna put Eric there. Above Beast, at least? Yeah. He does at least, like, try to save his daughter. Beast is just Descendants lore. Don't know enough about him in that canon, but in the canon I do know, he's kind of a stubborn dickhead. Alright, let's get Timon and Pumbaa together here. I think both of them are equally good parents to Simba. They are there for him at a vulnerable moment. They do encourage, like, hedonism and running away from your problems, but, like, in a vacuum, I think hedonism is not that bad, as long as you're not hurting anybody else. They encourage bad habits, yeah. I think they are good caretakers, but maybe not good, yeah, teachers, like you said. They're stoner dads. But yeah, they're there for him. They're there for Simba. Pumbaa is better than Timon by far. What say you? Why is this? I feel like they're pretty equal. From what I remember of Lion King 1, they did not know Simba is a prince. That's true. Are we holding that against... You're saying because they didn't know that Simba had responsibilities, they didn't really know they were keeping him from anything. Didn't they, though? Didn't they eventually know that he was... I guess he kind of kept it secret, didn't he? I don't really remember the lines of communication. But A tier seems right. Pumbaa is more loving to Simba and lets him do what he wants to do. Right, I guess, is Timon more instrumental in trying to stop Simba from pursuing his duties when they didn't know they went to help? Alright, so we'll put Pumbaa above Timon. But I think they both still go in A tier. I'm going to put them both below Maurice, right there. Above these two, because, like, we have a good judge of these two's character, but we haven't really seen much of them in action. Dopey's Descendants. So, it'll be that order in the A tier. Alright, Santa is only here because he is Father Christmas, and we were really trying to, you know, fill time here. So, Father Christmas, I mean, he is, you know, not the father of the elves, although he could be. You know, we don't know. We don't know. I mean, there's no Mrs. Claus in the Nightmare Before Christmas canon, but... Now, here's the thing. I put Santa really high up in the old person tier list. As a dad, I don't know if I can really be swayed to be as supportive this time. Or maybe, I mean, we got a lot of S tier people here. See, Donald was suggested, but, like, when everyone's calling him uncle all the time, like, if he's a father to anybody, it's the triplets. But he's clearly their uncle, so it's like, sorry, but you're not their dad. Only shows up once a year, that's true. So he is sort of absent, but not as absent as some of these other dads. He gave us Christmas. Yeah, he did give us Christmas. He Sora's dad. You should send that to Twitter. There's a lot of theories on Twitter about it, who's Sora's dad. Scrooge is more of a father figure to HDL. Yeah, I would agree on that. Because Scrooge is the father of Webby Vanderquack, or whatever the fuck her name is, in the DuckTales reboot. If Buffoon's here, I'm sure he could wax poetic on that. That's true. Santa does encourage you to do good, and if you do bad, you get coal. Which, like, it's not the worst punishment, you know? You're not being verbally or physically abused. You're just getting a lump of coal, and coal can be useful. Technically it's cloned, but the Disney Wiki says underneath the Scrooge McDuck template, child, Webby. So we're counting him. Santa, bottom of S tier, just because he's not an actual father, but he did give us Christmas. And everyone wanted us, so. Coal can be used for capitalism, but so can literally everything else. All of these characters are the creations of capitalist corporations, so what can you do? Alright, Scar. Scar was listed with the question mark. Like, he's obviously Kovu's dad, even though the movie's like, well, he's not his dad, because then that means the lions are incestual and they're fucking each other. But he's obviously Kovu's dad. They look the same. Scar raised him, I think. So, bad dad, right? Love Scar, fun villain, but bad dad, is a murderer. Didn't murder his kids, or tried to, but he is a murderer. He's a more successful murderer than all of these people. I think Scar is still canonically the father to Zira's other two kids. Okay, so Nuka and Vitani. The Vitani ended up being one of the good lions, right? Nuka got killed by logs. I guess Scar is probably right there. Again, wasn't racist. Although he probably was racist about hyenas privately. Like, he did think hyenas were a lesser species. So, yeah, I think if he did live to raise those children, he would not have been a good dad. So, yeah, he's King Claudius. Not great. Alright, Scrooge. Yeah, obviously, very greedy man. Very, very capitalistic tendencies. But I think to the, you know, to Huey, Dewey, and Louie, again, he is their Uncle Scrooge, or great uncle, right? And he is technically a father to Webby in the DuckTales reboot. I don't know anything about that. But, based on his unclehood, because that's the closest thing we have to fatherhood, because I can't examine the DuckTales of it all. Is he the richest character in fiction? That can't be right. It's probably some fucking MCU character. I feel like he's probably pretty good. Pretty good dad. I'm going to put him here. I feel like, from what I know of DuckTales, the children are endangered quite often. So, I'm going to put him beneath all of these ones. Which, I mean, Geppetto let Pinocchio run off and get swallowed by a whale. Sulley had to, like, save Boo. But Boo's not even Sulley's own. Sulley was thrust into fatherhood unwittingly and dealt with the cards he was... He did the best with the cards he was dealt. That order of words. So I think that's justified. Okay? Shang in Descendants is a dad. I thought maybe in Mulan 2 it was confirmed that he and Mulan had a baby, but, you know, I try to block out that movie as much as I can, so... What do we think of Shang? I feel like probably also C tier. I feel like right around Prince Charming, I have no intel on Shang's parenthood, aside from where it takes place, which is... He's not in Descendants? Well, someone told me he was. Let me Control F this, and patron chat, because we discussed this mere hours ago. Let's see. I have nothing. Am I making this up? I could have sworn someone said that they had a kid in Descendants. Okay, I might be full of shit. So I guess he's not involved. Oh, I think Pajama Sam 3 soundtrack is over. Okay. Pajama Sam 2 soundtrack. Good night, Chris. Thanks for sticking with us there. I hope you have a good sleep. Pajama Sam 2, baby. Shang's daughter is in the movie, just not him. Oh, so he is a dad, he just doesn't show up. So he's C-tier, he's right there. Okay, Simba. Simba technically is a dad in KH because we know that Nala is preggers in the second visit. Somehow, between the first and second visit, I don't know how time works in the Pride Lands, but Nala is they already know, and you see Kiara at the end of the KH2 credits. So, what do we do with Simba? He's not really a very good dad in Lion King 2. He's kind of just a stupid dickhead who has to relearn the lesson that he learned as a young adult in Lion King 1. But he does learn eventually. So, I think he's higher than D tier. I think he's minimum C, peak A, but a low A. Bottom of C? I mean, I'm trying to remember the chronology of what happens in Lion King 2, but I feel like he's willing to... No, actually, he wants to, like, go to war with the outcast lions, but Kiara and Kovu are, like, trying to stop him. Top of D? Oh. He does sing a nice little song to Kiara in the movie. Simba's B tier? This might have to be a poll. We're gonna do a poll again, and I will give you... He's obviously not F, so I will give the top 5 options here. Simba. We have S, A, B, C, or D. I think there's a case to be made for everything but S. And probably not A, but I'll leave it open. Looks like B and C are tied so far. I'll let it run. He's never going to be Mufasa. That's true. He's always going to be a pale imitation. Alright, looks like B is winning pretty handily. Okay. I think I feel like a low B, but above... I guess he's mid B, because I don't really know that much about Bambi's parenthood. And Barbosa is overall a shady guy, but does do a sacrifice. Simba, I think for the most part, is a good dad, just a little misguided. So... Alright, the Sultan. Not a great dad, right? Although... Like, he does change the law at the end of the movie. I think he kind of breaks even, right? Because he's trying to also marry his daughter off, and is not really, you know, acknowledging her autonomy or even allowing her to have autonomy. But by the end of the movie, he's like, I'm the Sultan. I think my daughter is clearly in love with this guy. So I'm going to change the law. Fuck it. So it's like, and he's obviously not a good leader. He's a buffoon. He is literally a cartoon buffoon. So I think he kind of breaks even. The Sultan's hot? I guess, if that's what you're into. Probably around here, right? Like, I think above Ansem the Wise. And I'll put him right there. He breaks even. That's all there really is to it. He has bad opinions and a bad perspective on his role as a father, but then he does the right thing at the end of the movie. So, also, if I didn't say, he's in Cucks. That's his Cucks model. That's why he's here. Alright, Vexen. Vexen, the father to Shion. Here he is, the villain of the stream. F tier, right? I mean, probably... He doesn't really directly interact with Shion that much. He's around here. He's definitely above Scar and Frollo. And he's probably above Xehanort. He's not racist. He sees his kids as science projects. Yeah, and so does Fink, so... technically... Oh yeah, you're right, Riku Replica's father as well. He's ugly, he hates women, he doesn't respect them. Is that even really true, or is that just, like, vodka lore? Like, he's mean to Larxene, but that's, like, the only woman we see him interact with. Is there even a scene of him talking to Xion ever? He's honestly D tier. You gotta put him above Fink. He had a redemption arc. That's true. But not really in relation to his fatherhood, right? I mean, he does help bring the replicas, or give replica bodies to the people who need it. So there's, like, there's some connective tissue there, but yeah, he saved Xion. Above Fink, he literally lobotomizes Riku Replica. Isn't that Larxene that does that? He kind of lets it happen. He dies before she really gets involved, yeah. Alright. Is he above Fink or below Fink? That's my real question here. He's not Ienzo's dad. That's Ansem the Wise. I'm gonna put him right there, okay? He's a bad dad. He's not good. Above Fink? He has the redemption arc, I know, but then we got the lobotomy. What do I do with it? It's like even split, above, below. Below Eraqus? I mean, Vexen never killed anybody, or tried to kill any of his children. Ienzo can have more than one dad. This is pride, but I don't think Evan and Ansem the Wise were, you know, co-parenting. I think Evan was like an older brother. Would you rather be a child of current Fink or redeemed Evan? Redeemed Evan. So that's a good point. I like that. Okay. Waka. Waka is a dad in Final Fantasy X too. Waka, like Frollo, is racist. So he goes in the F tier. No, actually, he's a reformed racist by the end of FF10 even. Okay, well, this is the novel. I don't care about that. We're going with the most canon of the material that we have, which is Kingdom Hearts, the games. Yeah, Waka is a dad with Lulu. They have a terrible... Or, the baby has a terrible haircut, I believe. Am I not mistaken? I could be wrong. C tier? Probably? Don't know that much about his abilities as a dad. It's just a baby at the end of FF10-2, I believe. So... yeah, C tier feels right. Probably... I'm gonna put, I believe that Prince Charming and Shang have the ability to give their children a better life than Waka does, so... Well, Descendants is the best that we have for fatherhood here, right? So there's a kind of a wedding cake of layers to canon, right? So if we have both the games and the novels, we're going to go with the games. They're more canon. If we only have Descendants, then that's all we have to work with, right? We're going with where can we find canon where this character is a father, and then we're taking the most canon of that canon. It's very simple. All right, this is White Barrett, unfortunately. His name is Wallace, but Barrett is a dad in Final Fantasy VII to Marlene, and this is White Wallace from Twilight Town, who is probably not a father. I mean, he could be. He kind of has a dad bod. So, I don't know what we do. FF7 Barrett is absolutely S tier, but White Wallace? I don't know. I think we probably just put him in C tier. We don't really know. We don't know anything about this man. He's kind of just here as a joke. Dead middle. Alright, Zeus. Our last daddy. Father to Hercules and many others in Greek mythology, but this is just the Disney version, where Zeus is monogamous with one child. Lets his son get kidnapped down to Earth. I mean, mistakes happen, you know. I don't think he's definitely not F tier. I don't even think he's D tier. I think he's at least C tier. He guides his son to true herohood. He's not fucking any swans in the Disney canon. So, I think generally in the Disney and KH chronology, he's a good dad, right? Could he intervene to get Herc back? I don't think he could. I don't think that was allowed. Did they even know what happened to Herc? Well, like, the statue knows who Hercules is, but is that actually Zeus talking through the statue? I don't know. His vibes are bad. He's a racist? What are you talking about? Are we talking about the same character? In the Disney movie, he's a racist? I don't recall. I don't recall these developments. Hercules' other parents were better. You guys are factoring in, like, actual Greek myth into the Disney version of the character that we have. He made his brother work in hell. Again, I don't know if that's Disney canon. They find out what happened to Hercules, but the rules say only gods are allowed to live in Olympus. Okay. So, maybe if he was like the Sultan, he's the god of gods, he would just change the rules. Below Jumba? All the way down here? I feel like he's done better for Herc than marrying him off to a rival nation. I feel like you guys are being really hard on Zeus. I feel like low B, to be honest. Zeus doesn't know what happened. He watched as Hercules' other parents raised him. When Herc chooses to live a mortal life, Zeus respects him and gives him his blessing. Below Ansem? All the way down here? Jumpa's way too low? It's too late. It's Zeus. That was Dr. Jumba. That was D in the alphabet. We're at Z now. Yeah, I think Zeus is B tier. You guys really aren't selling me on... Like, everyone's just saying C or D, but no one's really giving me any valuable argument. So I think he's B tier, and I honestly think he's a better dad than Simba. Jumba's too low. Okay, fine. He's above White Wallace. All right. I'll put him above these guys. He's top of C now. Are you happy? That's the daddy list. We fucking did it. What a bad idea. But we've been meaning to do this. I've literally been meaning to do this since 2021. Because I think I did the mommy list for Patreon in 2021. So it's finally done. A 3-year-long promise fulfilled. Pongo, probably S tier. Low S tier, but I think S tier. Although, I mean, it's not his fault that he has so many kids, but you just know that, like, not all of those Dalmatian puppies have a, like, healthy and good relationship with their parents. Like, there's just no way that they're all getting the appropriate amount of one-on-one time. So, I don't know. Maybe high A tier, but not really through Pongo's own fault. I just think, like, it's going to be tough for all of your kids to grow up with a sense of, you know, a decent relationship with their father. He did adopt a bunch of kids. Maybe took on too many kids, so... Pongo is potent, that's also true. I don't know if that really factors into your dadhood, but, you know, that's the precursor to it all, I suppose. I don't think Mickey's a father. I think he's an uncle. He has nephews, but, definitely not in the KH canon, and I don't even know if in the extended Disney canon. I'm sure he showed up as a dad in some Disney material somewhere, but not that I really know of. If anyone would know, it'd probably be like Barnabas or Buffoon, and they didn't chime in at any point when we were talking about this earlier today, so... Mickey is kind of a dad to Riku. He's a dad in Mickey's Christmas Carol. Why didn't anyone say? What the fuck? We talked about this for hours this morning. Mickey as a dad is probably A tier, if we're just going by his relationship with Riku. And also the Christmas Carol. I'm sure he's a good dad in that. But he had a vasectomy back in 57. Oh, I forgot about that, of course. Alright, well, there you have it, folks. Happy belated Father's Day. We are not assuming that Max exists. We're just taking all of the non-KH canon stuff into account here. But there you go. That's our list. It's law. It's official. And that's that. Okay? Bye.